G'day everyone and welcome to episode 1 of the new show, the Dave And Vinno Show, from Fireside Productions. Davey, how are you, my man?
I'm doing very good, mate.
Very
what about
good.
you?
Fantastic, mate. Episode 1 of the new show. Gonna be good fun, this one, I think. It's gonna be touching on some big issues and some fun things coming up in the future. Do you want to tell people a little bit about what we got planned or what we're doing with this show, mate?
We're a variety show. Look, we want to do a lot more interviews. We'll talk about political stuff. We'll do deep dives. You know, I think we're gonna try and mix it up a little bit on this. Just have some fun. We'll do the game shows and interviews and all the stuff that I guess that we have been doing on the network. But now this is just we're just trying something a little bit different.
Yeah, go down a
But
different
not
avenue.
much.
Yeah, move down a different avenue, and I suppose main focus is to have more guests.
Yes.
Saying that, episode 1 we haven't got a guest.
Yeah, well, I think it would have been a bit weird for them, you know what I mean?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
we would have been just had to do a little bit of talking about us.
Yeah,
It would have
yeah.
been a bit, and they would have been like, well, fucking, why'd you have me here?
Yeah.
No,
Explain everything around
definitely, yeah. I think, just to let people know we're coming in. We've nothing planned really for this episode, just to kind of throw it down. We're here. We're trying some new stuff. If there's shit that you want us to cover a bit more, something in current events, news, politics, whatever it is, let us know and we will. If you want to come on the show, come on the show. We're going to be doing, we're floating the idea about doing some House of the Dragon. Well, right now we're going to have to do a season review, but next year maybe do an episode. We'll do that, and it would have been finished by the time you're watching this too. So
Yeah, we don't want to give too much away. I mean, we haven't seen the last episode of the season. Saying that, I was really disappointed today because I only found out today that last week's episode of Rings of Power was the season finale. So
that was it.
I went to
So we could do
I went to sit down and watch it today. I went, what the fuck? But didn't realise that was the season finale. But it makes sense as well. But yeah, we won't give away spoilers and stuff in case people haven't seen it yet. We'll give it a bit of time and talk about it. But back to the old antics of having a few drinks and chilling out. It'd be rude not to.
Well, we're looking for this thing to morph, right? Kind of like it happened in the older show. It just kind of got different, and we want to keep the spice alive. Yeah, weekly as well. We're gonna try and keep it weekly with some breaks in there.
Now,
it's gonna be good.
Speaking of which, there'll probably be a little break early on in the piece because big news.
Oh yeah, so look, my wife, right, as it stands now, is her due date for having our little baby, our little boy who's coming to the world. 3 days.
Yeah. 3
days to go, and here I am chilling out in the fucking man shed, having a beer.
But look at the smile on your face.
And look, honestly, this is the second one now, so a little bit similar for you. You know what it's like having that little one kid. Before you had that first kid, you're like, what's this? You don't even understand how much this little life is gonna just take over your world, right?
Yep.
And now when I think about before that, I can't even imagine not having little Maisie. You know what I mean?
Man.
And now I'm in this weird limbo because it's like there's going to be another little life now that I couldn't have imagined life before him. So there's all this love just building up, but a lot of stress, a lot of work ahead. It's been 9 months for the missus, and man, like yourself, you're the father to be too. Again.
Yeah. We've and I mean, poor Rinny, this one's been a lot harder. She's had she had gestational diabetes with Oliver, but this time she's needed insulin and all that, and Yeah, let's just say she hasn't enjoyed pregnancy. And
Well, my missus, look, my missus doesn't either.
yeah, I take my hat off to every woman that's ever been pregnant and had babies and all that sort of stuff, because holy shit, like just seeing what Rin's had to give up, just with the gestational diabetes. And as much as I try and support, there's only so much I can do. I can't carry the baby for her, unfortunately. So she's just a trooper with how she's taking the insulin testing. Just she's on the dot with it every single time, man. And it's it's incredible, because when I sort of think about me, there's some days where I get busy and forget to eat breakfast or some shit, like, let alone being on the clock every time for that for the tests and all that. Like,
But that's on top of physical changes, hormonal changes, mental fucking around with your mental
man,
stuff she has to deal with. It's months on months. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many things that on top of it, a diet change anyway, because you have to fucking change what
yep.
There's so much pressure, and like you said before, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if I could do it. I might just be.
I couldn't.
I might say, like, why don't we just adopt? Let's just adopt. I think that would be the best. Look, man, all power to them. And here's another thing as well. They're doing it for us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like because they're gonna put themselves through this. It's for us. I mean, I mean, we have to join at the start a little bit. We have to get in there and do our part.
We get the fun part. We get the fun part.
Hey, yeah. But hats off to them, man. Hats off to them. Like, and you know what? They're continuing the whole humanity thing too, as well, right?
Oh yeah, man, absolutely. Like it's I suppose we can take it for granted in a lot of sense, because we know so many people that have had kids, and our parents as well. And I suppose more so the struggle that gets talked about with giving birth and carrying children and stuff like that almost becomes a joke when we get older, because you hear the subtle digs from your mum going, "Oh, you're a pest, you're a pain in the ass." But it's not.
You're made
until
to feel guilty about putting them through pain.
Yeah,
like, well, this was your choice, motherfucker.
They can try, but it's not until you're in that situation and you're part of it and involved that you sort of go, "Oh fuck, righto, now I'm." Maybe she wasn't joking. Maybe my old girl wasn't just fucking having a subtle dig. So.
Or even, because we know with our first kids now, how much you got to keep on them, right? With teaching them, and teaching them not just morals, but strategy, getting through life, and lessons and skills and everything.
Yep.
And you've grown up, you might think, fuck, why is my mom and dad real serious about this and that? And like, because they want, like now,
yeah,
they just want everything for you. You know what I mean? They want to make sure you're not doing shit the wrong way. And
gonna make it harder when they're older, because I'll be feeling pretty hypocritical, I think, in a lot of sense. But
just well, that's so far. I've just been, God, I hope she's not like me. God, I hope he's not like, with a bit of luck, they might rebel and be the exact opposite.
Oh fuck, I hope so. I don't see it happening, but God, I hope so. Anyway, you froze there for a second. That was
same with you.
Yeah.
Because well, here's the thing. I didn't want to say it, and so I was just like, I'm just gonna chill here. Because I have torrential rain happening right now. I don't know if you can hear it through your.
I can't hear. We got flooding up here again at the moment. So fucking things.
What is it like? Okay, so it's gotten to the Hunter Valley now.
It's been raining since. So yeah, 3 days or so. Yesterday was torrential again. They were sending out flood warnings and all the shit again. Like, it hasn't stopped this year at all. It's we might have had a month or two where it hasn't been flood warnings and all the rest, but it's definitely crazy.
been some major emergencies out there, really, like
man.
multiple times during the year. It's like 3 or 4 times there was like serious. I know the last time it happened, that was pretty horrible.
Yeah, well, they're talking about, major rivers breaching banks and all those sorts of things, and evacuating people. So that's been a couple of months now, I think, since that happened. But it was getting to the stage, where they were starting to throw out warnings again. So if it rains this week, like they're sort of predicting it may, we'll probably be back in that situation. But, man, I don't know what to say. Like, yeah, but things are running slow. So if we do get glitchy, it's just a bit of fucking water getting around.
Hey, and it's only our first show. It's our first show. We're gonna have technical difficulties. You got to bear
We're
with us.
allowed to. And if you don't like it, shut the fuck up.
Back. That's right. shut your damn mouth. But like, getting forward, let's talk House of the Dragon, right?
All right.
Without spoiling it, all right. Let's talk preconceptions. Did you watch and like Game of Thrones, barring
Right. So I'll go
the ending? What's your Game of Thrones experience?
Right. So this changed how quickly I was watching House of Dragon, because I was just so fucking skeptical. I started Game of Thrones late. I think they were up to season 3 when I started watching, and it blew my mind. Right, especially the episode where Ned Stark dies. Like I was thinking it was going to be like every other.
Spoiler alert from 8 years ago, everybody. Probably more than that. It's probably like a decade ago now. Yeah.
I can't remember what year I watched it, but
they had 8 seasons.
Yeah,
and it's been a season or 2 in between House of Dragon.
If you haven't watched that, it's not a spoiler.
Yeah, after that, the fucking Ned Stark, man, at the end of season 1, dude.
Well, see, like that scene as well, and this is what really drew me in. It was good. The storytelling was okay. I wasn't hooked at that point, and then getting up to that scene, I'm thinking, oh yeah, someone's going to save him, or they'll call it off, and then he dies, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, it just, blew my mind. So then I was hooked after that and binged the next 2 seasons. Loved it. Now, a lot of people say that towards the middle few seasons, 5, 6, and 7, they stopped not liking it. They didn't enjoy it. I still enjoyed it. I think the storytelling was there. They wanted, I don't know, I think people just want a quick story and jump into it. But the one thing that Game of Thrones did really well up until sort of the last season, I'm going to say, was built the story really well, right? So you get shows like Walking Dead, and I just can't stand watching that because there's too many filler episodes. There's just too much.
Oh, that
too many
started
stories.
Off great. Season 1 and 2 were great, and then it just went boo.
It just, I don't know, like, yeah, there was
same shit.
Too many filler episodes. It was just the same storyline each season. They start safe, something happens, they've got to find, a new home.
They go into this town of people that let them in, and then there's, oh god, the guy on top is corrupt.
Yeah. There's only so much you can do with an apocalypse.
Carol keeps getting tougher.
Yeah. But it
was a good show.
It started off all right, but it is one that doesn't set the stories up right. It tries to tell backstories, which that's what I liked about Game of Thrones. Is you might have a couple of episodes that are building episodes to build the story, and if you miss even a small amount of dialogue throughout that, you miss like a key plot hole there, or not plot hole, but a key piece of the plot that affects later down the track. So I really enjoyed it, and I always, was pretty focused because that happened a few times and I had to go back and watch episodes. And then, the Red Wedding happened. That was huge. And I really enjoyed it up until the last season. So the last season, I was so fucking disappointed. And one of the reasons was, and from episode 1, I was disappointed. That could have been so much more, because they could have almost broken that one battle down into 3 episodes and had more story in there, or more of a build up to that final scene where the Night King dies, right? Rather than from first episode they rock up. We won't get into the way they did that with the dark textures and all that shit yet, but start of the season, here they are getting prepared for it. Next minute there's this battle, and then out of nowhere, almost, if it wasn't for the music, you wouldn't have known that there was about to be a big or something dramatic happen, because here you're just walking in, and then out of nowhere Arya Stark comes in and kills him, right? So they could have still had that, but they could have had it as episode 3, and it could have been more of a build up, and that could have been almost the whole episode, him going through that process and just playing it out a bit more. But it just seemed rushed. It was fucking poorly executed. Like, the amount of complaints about how dark it was. I get the techniques that they were trying to use, but it was too dark. It was unwatchably dark, because you got to be able to fucking see what's going on. I remember sitting in a room, the curtains drawn, lights off, and still sitting there squinting, trying to fucking see what was happening. Like, there's no point having that technique failed because they overdid it. And the disappointing thing about that is, for such a large production, and we waited 2 years, 12 months or 2 years for that to come out, and they didn't even it was like they didn't even quality check that and go, yeah, this is fucked. All right, we can't release this. So, and then the rest of that season, you had the big jump in the timeline, where they've gone from up in the north fighting, the dead man's dead. The army of the dead, Kings. Night King's army, and then all of a sudden they're down in fucking King's Landing, standing at the front. Like, there was nothing in between. It's like there was no story in between. That's a whole fucking journey, and there's nothing. It's all of a sudden they're just here. So it was rushed. It was poorly executed. The storylines for the Lannisters was fucking piss poor. They could have done so much more than just Jaime and Cersei fucking dying because rocks hit him in the head, as the castle collapses. Jon Snow's end story is shithouse. Like, it's just full of plot holes.
Well,
once the other army's all left and all that, nothing to stop him from just fucking staying, down in the Southlands rather than going above the wall and all that sort of shit. Like, it was fucking piss poor. And I know there's so many people that were disappointed with it. So for that reason, when they said they were going to do a spin-off, and there's so many ways they could have done the spin-off, and I'm glad they have gone down the way. But I was very reluctant, because I'm still probably salty about the way it finished. So, but your take?
All right. So apprehensive to get into House of Dragon.
Absolutely.
All right. For me, look, I loved Game of Thrones. All right, and I've probably said it before. Like, Game of Thrones, to me, I came into it in season 2, because I'd heard oh, people, this is good and all, and oh my god, they killed like one of the main characters at the end. This is very different, because to me it was like there was a lot of swords and sandals thing going about,
and a lot of
I
sex.
like Rome, and yeah. I was like, all right, I'll check this out. I like a lot of the actors in it. I ended up getting deep into Game of Thrones. I read the books. I ended up going online, and I was getting into the fan fiction side of it and all. Like, you mentioned Ned Stark killed. So I was part of like a community who believed that Ned Stark was not dead, because we knew the future.
Okay.
In the books, and we knew that in the books, all the Starks, not all the Starks, but a lot of the Starks actually have warging abilities, not just Bran. John had like, dreams and all, and it was suspected that a lot of the Starks could walk. And if you look and watch the Ned, everybody go watch on YouTube, Ned Stark gets beheaded or Ned Stark dies or whatever it is, and you see just before the whole scene, everything's getting chaotic, and it gets peaceful for a second, and Ned looks up to the sky, he sees the birds flying, and then he closes his eyes right before his neck gets cut off, and I was like, motherfucker warged into a bird. Right, because that's what because they also set it up, and they had one of the wildlings before he died warg into a bird. Remember the skinny wildling?
Yeah, they did too. Yeah,
the warg wildling, and I was like, oh my god, they're setting it up for wargs can leave their human body behind, and a lot of people thought, because in the books, Jon Snow is still dead because they haven't finished the books yet. He was killed at Castle Black.
Yep.
Stannis Baratheon's still there, so a lot of people think that he wargs into Ghost and then runs around, and then when Melisandre brings him back to life, Ghost he's able to walk back into his body or whatever. Yeah, but anyway,
but not the way that it happened.
All these, well, not at all.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So I think my disappointment. Now I loved all the seasons except up to season 8. I kind of liked some of the concepts and where they were going and how they were going to end certain things, but they were rushing it because they wanted to end the series soon. Dan and Dave actually got a job, which funnily enough fell through because of how bad a job they did on Game of Thrones.
Oh, did it?
Finishing it off. Yeah. So they had a Star Wars thing set up that they were going to walk.
I thought they still did it.
They they haven't done it. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And a lot of people speculate it's because people say, "Oh, well, you didn't finish that up nice," and you kind of walked away from that. People saying you have. So, but really, they were trying to finish it off and tie off the knots everywhere. So when it gets up to who are the characters in their ending, like the likes of Jon Snow going beyond the wall, I don't mind that because they're doing a spin-off now anyway, and it's going into production, and it's going to be Jon Snow.
Yeah.
So you're going to get to see what happens to him after the wall. I like that he's like, I'm not going to be king.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the rightful king. He's Aegon the Fifth Targaryen. And he is a rightful heir to the throne. He is the son of fucking Rhaegar Targaryen and Lyanna
Stark.
Is it Lyanna?
Yeah.
Lyanna Stark? Yeah. Who is Lyanna Targaryen? Because they wed.
Yep.
They eventually wed. Secret, as we know from the fucking the flashbacks. And the Tower of Joy. And she killed, and she told Ned's the whole thing is Ned's so honourable. Ned cannot tell a lie. He's like, he's lying to you all, motherfuckers. And then they're like, oh, the only one thing he did that was bad was shag that thing. He didn't even do that. You don't even know what. Like, I love Ned Stark and I love Jon, and I love that Jon in the end said no. You know what I mean? I'm not. I loved being up north, and you know what I mean. When he was with the wildlings and all. And they all were going north. And I think that's the only place that he felt really took him in. Because the Starks at Winterfell didn't think he was a Stark. And it ends up he kind of wasn't, in a way. He's had Stark blood. Like, they always knew he was Ned's blood. But it turns out it was Lyanna's blood. And he's king of fucking kingdoms.
Yeah.
The Andals and the Freemen and all them. And the heir to Dragonstone. But, like, he turned it down. He broke the wheel. He broke the wheel in the end. And he made the right decision and killed the tyrant who which is sad in a way as well, the way she went. But I do like that Jon went north with his folk. You know what I mean? And he secured. He righted some wrong.
For the story of it, yeah, that's cool. It was the way it was done. Like, they portrayed it as you have to fucking go. And I think that, like you said, it took away a lot of the away from his character about turning down the throne and then going peacefully with those people, like with his people, because it's almost like you have to go. We're not going to be happy, even though it's his choice.
But that's Game of Thrones, dude. Like,
yeah, it is.
They set you up with, like, it's not going to end how you want it to. It's real life.
I get that.
Because you know what I mean. Like, it's
it was once again, like I said, the execution of it. It was just. It felt.
It was terrible.
It was rushed. And like you said at the start there was so much potential for so many things, and they just drop the ball all over the place. It's the most disappointing end to a TV series I've ever seen. So
I don't think it hits Walking Dead level.
I haven't watched the end.
That's what I mean. Like, Walking Dead, you kind of don't even bother watching. You know what I mean? Like, so I think it's kind of like, oh, they finished it up. Shit. You know what I mean? And most TV series get crap and then get cancelled. You know what I mean? But for how much I was looking forward to it and how good it was.
Yeah.
What a fucking they needed another 2 seasons, really, to really let it breathe. Which is why the House of the Dragon, getting it out there, quick review. I love House of the Dragon, and I think it's better in some ways than Game of Thrones.
Yep. And
in other ways, I think it's better than Game of Thrones. I will say that. In some ways, but what is cool about it, I guess, is that they have 4 to 5 seasons to basically make a series that's based off of a small little book that's basically not all these 6 novels. You know what I mean? It's based off of little excerpts and little short stories from a maesters. So they have so much they can. They've
got a little bit of writer's freedom, don't they? They've got
so much, yeah. Even this first season is really just setting it up because so for everyone that knows, the Dance of the Dragons basically is, and you've heard it, if you've watched Game of Thrones, you know that it is, I think, about 200 years before Game of Thrones, and it's supposed to be when a Targaryen king dies, fighting over who gets to take the reins, who gets to be the heir. And that's all I'll get into when it comes to that. But the series was supposed to start after a certain monarch dies, but instead what they've done is they've given you so much backstory now that they didn't have to. And it might feel rushed, this part, but this part wasn't even going to be in it. So watch this season and then get fucking ready. Like, I thought it was so real, such a great season. And yeah, I'm excited to get into the nitty gritty of it.
And
as far as Game of Thrones, huge fan.
And once again, they've got some fucking good actors too. They've got some stars. What's his name that played Doctor Who?
Matt Smith. You got Matt Smith. He's playing Daemon Targaryen.
Yep.
Got Emma Darcy's playing Rhaenyra.
Yep.
You've got Royce Ivans playing fucking Otto Hightower. Obviously, and I think the best actor in the whole thing right now is playing Viserys Targaryen, which is the king at the time. Watch the show. Paddy Considine or Constantine or whatever.
You'll get it right in a minute.
He needs to get the Emmy for this, and I'm not going to go into the reasons why until we go into this. We'll do character studies and a series review.
We'll do a whole breakdown. Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll break it all down. But unbelievable acting, great scenes, the realism in this, the way they brought King's Landing to life. I think people will be so excited.
As well as having the dragons in there too, the CGI is just fucking phenomenal. In that,
well, in Game of Thrones, dragons had been. This might give. When you come into Game of Thrones, and everyone who's watched Game of Thrones knows, at the start people think dragons are myth. Until, and then there's some people that kind of like, there hadn't been a dragon around. There's this that until fucking Daenerys has those 3 eggs and she comes out of fire, and she has the dragon egg. But what's great about this, and if you've even watched the trailer about House of the Dragon, the Targaryens are in charge, have been in charge for a lot since Aegon's conquest. There is dragons, they're everywhere. Dragons. And I can't wait to get into the dragons. You know, no, well, it's
don't go into it because there's only like you said, it's not a spoiler with the
Nah.
trailer and all that.
We don't want to spoil. We don't want to spoil anything, but there's dragons.
Because there is,
yeah.
there is people that
House
just
of the
wait
Dragon, yeah.
and they binge it.
But we're gonna give people a week or so to catch up on it.
Yep.
To get there, and then obviously we'll get people when they're tuning in. Yeah, if you haven't, we'll give you a little non-spoiler, maybe a 10-15 minute at the start, and then we'll put the spoilers down the bottom when you're gonna get and put it on notification for when you finish to come back and watch that. Because, oh man, I'm gonna explode.
Oh man, it'll be good. We're gonna do one as well for Rings of Power, which finished.
Yeah, and I haven't
episode
finished
8.
Rings of Power
No,
yet.
so we're not gonna even touch on that. But that's been my favorite out of the two. Just, yeah, just I like Tolkien's work and loved the.
I
Lord
love Lord of the
and-
Rings too.
Yeah, so I've really enjoyed this because once again, it's going back to before even The Hobbit, the movies, and all that sort of stuff. So I find it cool that these shows and production companies are going back and doing these prequel type things to. I mean, there's a lot of opportunity to continue on, but going back and filling in blanks, I think is really cool.
Well, that world, right, that Peter Jackson created, Lord of the Rings. Fucking, like, so the first Lord of the Rings movie I seen was in the cinema, and it was actually The Two Towers.
Oh, right.
So,
Christmas.
Yeah, so I seen that, and that.
Christmas or New Year's they were coming out.
Oh,
12 months apart.
I can't remember. In Ireland, it's cold all the year around, so you never really know when fucking. You can't remember back, but I remember my auntie actually brought me to it, and I was like, oh my God. She was like, yeah. And then when I came home from watching that, I immediately watched Fellowship.
Yep.
And I was like, because to me, Lord of the Rings, I would have been only a kid. I reckon I would have been only like 12 or 13. When did that come out? 2000 or 2001 or 2 or something like that?
Let me check it right now.
Yeah, check that out. Because I was very young when that came out.
I remember Dad taking
2002.
us boys to the cinema for all three of them.
Gotta be early. It's gotta be pretty early. 2000s. I'm gonna guess 2002.
Right, I'm just,
2016.
2001. So
Oh, well, yeah,
Two Towers.
close enough.
Two Towers came out in 2002, and obviously.
Well, that's when I seen 2002.
Yeah.
2000, and then 2001 was Lord of the Rings, wasn't it?
That was a Fellowship 2003.
Fellowship.
Yeah, so they came out.
Fellowship.
Fellowship was
Return
2001.
of the King was 2003.
Yes. So there was Fellowship 2001, The Two Towers 2002, and then the Return of the King was 2003 because I think it was either Christmas Day, might have even been Boxing Day, but it was the same day 3 years in a row that they were releasing the movies. So
what a revolutionary thing he did.
Oh,
He's
man.
I'm planning 3 movies. I'm going to film them back to back to back so they seem like a linear story.
mm-hmm.
These actors moved to fucking New Zealand for 3 years, 4 years probably. And like, one of the best trilogies ever, if not the
Absolutely,
best.
man.
You know what I mean? If you want to talk, like, I think the best of them is the Two Towers. I think a bit because it's the first one I've seen, but also for me, Helm's Deep is one of the most revolutionary battle scenes ever.
When you look at Helm's Deep as a battle scene, a siege type, or what it was a siege, you know, one of the most frustrating things about Game of Thrones, that last season and that first episode with the last battle, right? Here you have a perfect example of what people have loved, and obviously you're not going to do it the same, but you can take aspects of that and add them into the way you're going to portray it, because you know that last season, like as we said, it hadn't been written, so they had an open slather, right, where they could have just done what they wanted. You don't plagiarize, you know, Peter Jackson's work, but you definitely fucking look at it and go, right, this is how Helm's Deep was done. These were aspects of it that were really well done. And you know, that's not just from me. That's I was watching. I can't remember his name. He's an up and coming director and short film director and creator and all that. And he was talking about other movies where they've done siege or battle scenes, every time, and what they've been teaching them in the school that he's going to is Films Deep. You know, like just the lead up to it, from start to finish, really, it's just draws you in. It's exciting. It's breathtaking,
scary
and it's
as
just
fuck. It's at night.
Yeah, and it
like
just
you were
goes
saying,
bang, bang,
it's
bang.
an actual nighttime battle.
Yep.
They showed you how to do battles at night. You know what I mean? There is fire. It illuminates the place. They had the kids and the women in the basement. It was scary shit because you had them hearing what was up there and the growls, the stompings of the Urukai, the berserkers, man. And it was showing you. And then rain comes. It was like a peaceful moment before the battle, and the rain came. And I thought in the end of Game of Thrones, in that, well, remember that scene where the Dothraki charge the darkness? I actually liked that. I was like, oh my God.
That was fucking cool. It was.
But after that, they should have came out and been like, oh my, that should have been like, what? That should have been setting you up scared of what the hell is in the dark.
Yep.
And then they should have illuminated and went Helm's Deep.
They got the effect. They got the effect that they needed with the Dothraki just getting wiped out and nothing there.
Yeah.
You've already got that.
Going out.
What the fuck is going on? That is like, and as you said, they could have. What was the Red Witch's name? Melisandre. Like, I don't know whether, I can't remember if she had taken off at that stage, but they could have used.
She came back for the battle.
That's right. Yeah, because she lit all their swords on fire and that. But that was an opportunity for them to use her and illuminate the whole thing.
Was that the Battle of Winterfell when the Dothraki ran into them?
Yeah.
Because then there was a battle at King's Landing with the Night King and all.
No.
I
didn't get to King's Landing.
Yeah.
Remember they had the Battle of Winterfell.
The Night King got to King's Landing,
No.
He did. First, he died at Winterfell. That's when Winter fell.
Yeah, Winterfell was where. That's what I mean. Like, it didn't. They could have dragged that out for 3 episodes.
And then they marched onto
And then, you know, Jon Snow, Daenerys, everyone. The next episode just fucking got on a plane, and popped into the King's Landing just to light that place up.
There might have been time between that. You know what I mean? Like,
but that's what I mean. They could have had scenes leading up on the travels down there, like on the journey down there, where they could have. I don't know. They could have done anything. Being the last season, they could have, you know, taken you to certain places, like on the journey, obviously. But that's what I mean. They just ended up at the walls of King's Landing. Yeah, and that's what it was saying. It was just. It was.
They gave up. They
did. Yeah, it was just. Yeah. Anyway, but
you're absolutely right, because really, what you could have even had the Night King dies at the end of season 8, and then season 9 is like, well, what the fuck? You know what I mean? That could have been, and that's your Ned Stark red herring out of the way, so you can take on. Okay, now it's them versus Cersei and the North. You know what I mean? Like, and then had a whole season about that, and then you could have appreciated that you could have took season 8 to appreciate the fucking Night King and what they were building up, and then because the Night King could have been a vehicle that made everyone love Jon Snow and Arya and all that side, because they actually saved the North, and then it saved Westeros.
Yep.
Then they could have marched down, and then you could have tied off the political angles, and like you were saying, with Cersei. I wanted Arya to get Cersei because she was on the list. They disbanded the list, and I hate that. Yeah. They disbanded the list. They should have had Arya come in and actually kill the Mountain too, and like, or let the Hound kill the Mountain. But I think when he was dying, he could have came and he could have said, "Put me out of my misery. I'm on your list, but do me." You know what I mean? It could have been oh my God, she's still gonna kill him, but it's. Erlen Sandor had that. Oh man, like the Hound, man. I love the Hound. I love the Hound.
That was the only. And the only death, I suppose, in that ending. Last. Yeah. It was, and Corinne disagrees with me. She thinks, oh no, she didn't like it. I liked the fact that he got to fight his brother, have it out with him one last time, and they both died doing that. I went, yeah, okay. So you've had a fucking heap of shit deaths. You've butchered this, but you've done that one all right. Like, it was okay. But I agree with you.
I could have done with him living. I could have done with him living and him going north with Jon. Or him becoming the Kingsguard or something to protect Sansa.
For the reason that you just mentioned, though, with Arya, him being on Arya's list, I just don't think he could.
I just think it could. I think he was the dude that he wanted to. His whole life, he's just been a shadow of his brother. He's a fucking narky cunt, and I think he just wanted to do something for once that was like good, and I think he did it. Got his brother, and he got his revenge, and the whole time he protected Sansa and Arya and Brienne. Like,
he was good at heart. Yeah.
I think he had niceness in him, but I think he'd done some awful shit too. You know what I mean? Like, he ran down the butcher's boy. You know what I mean? Like, he's a motherfucker. But
he loves chickens.
I think he got his arc. But I could have been happy with him living too. But to me, that's not Game of Thrones.
No.
It's like, no, everyone can't live, dude.
No.
And they kind of went that way at the end, and they gave Jon a lot more plot armor there. But I think the way that I hated that Bran ended up on the throne as well.
Yeah.
Because that they kind of turned him, and I get what they're doing because they're like, oh well, he's truly benevolent because he's so fucking devoid of personality now because he knows everything and he's not even Bran anymore. He's the three-eyed Ray. They just didn't, and I know Bran can walk and into people, and they forgot about that. There's no point in that. And it's like, well, you're like gearing me up for Bran to walk into the Night King or to walk into a dead body that's beside the Night King or to walk into something. His walking skills were like, nah, he's not going to do that anymore. And then it's like all the fucking Jojen and Mira fucking saved his life and dragged his ass around place. And then Jojen dies, fair enough. And then Mira's like, all right, well, I think you're a dickhead now, Brandon, goodbye. And they never go back and they never see Howland Reed, the swamps. And you never, like, to me, so I was just so pissed off. It was like, because I had so much like, oh my God, there's so many families to get into. I'm just going to rush the main plot.
Yep.
Kill it all. Fuck you. So then I was like, okay, Dan and Dave are gone. Jon Jones. Jon Snow.
Jim Jones grabbed everybody and fucked off down south, started a cult.
Well, Jim Jones ain't coming back, but Jon Snow and Jon Jones are. Jon Jones a heavyweight and Jon Snow in the north. So I think they're gonna put some effort now. I think they know they fucked up. Yep. Like, you know what? We have this world now. Let's take our time and do it. You know, so I think now Jon Snow's story isn't over. And all of a sudden now, you know what I mean? So he can come back. In that world now, Jon is up north. Sansa is fucking the queen of the north. Fucking Bran is down there as the king. Shit's gonna go down. The Iron Bank still want their money. No one, you know, they can wreck on it and save.
Well, there's a lot of power vacuums there in the sense that, you know, the Lannisters are gone. Right, so they're gonna...
Well, Tyrion.
Yeah, but there's gonna be issues there because, you know, people don't like the fact that a dwarf had power when he was the hand of the king and all those sorts of things. So there is...
Well, he's the hand now, isn't he?
Yeah, I'm talking when he was...
For Bran.
Yeah, when he was hand when... Joffrey was there,
yeah. Tywin put him there.
Yeah. So, but now, you know, he's not protected in the sense that, you know, with his family name essentially because his family has perished. So, I don't know. There's a lot that can happen there. I would like to see. But look, I mean, I think we need to have a character in there that Colin could play. For sure, just because it'd be fucking
Colin reminds me of Beric Dondarrion. Remember the fella with the flaming sword with the eye patch?
Yeah.
I think he could have played Beric. Cause I got so into that. And you know what they left out in the books? Fucking Catelyn Stark comes back.
Yeah.
From the dead as Lady Stoneheart.
Yes.
And she leads the Brotherhood without banners, like Beric Dondarrion and Toros Amir
Well,
and
that
all
was
them. And they go around killing motherfuckers.
That was a rumor at one stage that, or not a rumor, but it was speculation that she might have been the one to kill the Night King, because or actually no, and Cersei. There was speculation that she was going to be that Lady Stoneheart was going to be the one that killed Cersei. So there was so many.
That was a whole thing to get revenge for them killing her kid and Ned and all. Yeah.
Yep. And that was another thing that they just let go by the wayside, and instead she gets fucking bonked by a rock.
They didn't give a shit about any of the families and tying up any of the knots that way. They're just at the end, we're just gonna make this and we're gonna do that. And now I'm sure that George R. R. Martin said, okay, this is how you, because they're like, you haven't finished the books, we got to finish the TV show, how does it end? So he probably would have said, Arya kills the Night King, Bran ends up on the throne, and they're probably like, all right, and they're like, how do we get that to happen?
Yeah.
So Daenerys goes mad and burns King's Landing, which destroys the whole,
Yeah.
And
he stepped away from it, though, didn't he?
Who?
George.
Well, not,
once they released it. Yeah, but he sort of went and didn't endorse it, didn't he? When it.
Well, he wasn't happy with it because he's like, oh, you kind of rushed that.
You just fucked everything I did.
But he is actually an executive producer and the head writer or something like that for the House of the Dragon. So he's part of House of the Dragon.
Good.
And
it shows, I suppose. I think it shows.
But this first season is about setting up that. And, but Game of Thrones, I loved Game.
We're back to it.
Well, that's right. Well, and there's going to be more of that world. There's going to be more of the, like you said, with Lord of the Rings. Now they're going back in time.
Yeah.
To a. Is it thousands of years?
Yeah. So this
was this the beginning of the Second Age? Which is it?
So it's well, the First Age finished. Saruman goes into hiding. Morgoth is banished.
Sauron, you mean?
Yeah, so Morgoth, or his leader or his master, is thrown into the Shadowlands, and Sauron goes into hiding. So this is in between that transition, and it's not just like a fucking 2-week period. Like it's hundreds, if not like 1,000 years or something like that. So it's based around
like people think because Galadriel and Elrond are in this that it's a bit. No, they're thousands of years old. Those motherfuckers.
Yeah. So it's good. It sets up, and I won't talk too much about it because it starts giving away.
How would you say? How would you give a non-spoiler intro into the Rings of Power? How would you set someone up into watching it?
I don't know. The story itself, it speaks for itself in a sense. But to see where it all begins, if you want to see what happened, Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit is set after Sauron is defeated, so this is prior to that, and leading up to when he has that ring cut off his hand, so there's a big gap there. And you don't know. There's so many questions for people, that up until that we start Lord of the Rings, from when he loses the ring. So there's not so much of an explanation. Yeah.
The balls of them, just starting it off as, oh my God, there's this real important ring. You're like, if you want to know why it's important, like I guess they give you that little bit of a summary at the start, like the intro of Lord of the Rings, and they show you the elves fighting Sauron, and they cut Isildur cuts the finger off.
Yeah. So this is going to, from what I understand,
how far before that is it?
Before he creates the rings.
Isildur cuts the ring off.
in this season, and they have skipped timelines a little bit, right? So
I have heard that, but I'm not
Yeah.
a big Tolkien head.
And
I
it's
have heard
because
some Lord of the Rings fans get pissed about it, but other
You
Lord of the Rings
can't.
fans say that it's important
It
to
is.
do this because they're bringing it to television.
Yes. If they were to do it, it would be 10 seasons before, they got to where they are right now, right? So they have thrown things in a little bit quicker than what they do in Tolkien's books. I don't mind it because it's good television. They're still doing the story justice as well, right? If they were doing it and butchering it, then yeah, you could sort of go, well, why the fuck did you do that? But they are keeping it true to, Tolkien's writing and all that sort of stuff. So,
What's with the backlash, though? I'll ask you because
so
I've only got a couple of episodes.
So this
into
is not a spoiler because Isildur and his father are in this, right? Now that's not a spoiler because I say it is. No, because this tells
you
a
actually
story.
don't know Isildur's in
This
it,
is
yeah.
a story where they come from, right? So it doesn't say when he's in it, what stage he's in it, right? Isildur and his father are in it. So what a lot of people have a problem with is where they come into it is a lot sooner than what they're supposed to, as opposed to Tolkien's writings, right? But they need to. Otherwise, like I said, it's going to be too long and the story will drag out. And where they've brought them in works well. It's doing it justice. So people are just shitty. You know how people, they get on their high horse because, I've read the books. And then because things don't play out exactly how the books are written, they get the shits because they think that they know better, know more, right? But people that are doing the screenplay and all that, they've read the fucking books as well, and they've made this decision, and as I said, they've done it justice. So
I think there were people that, when they seen the trailers for it, they hopped onto the woke bandwagon about it.
Yep.
The trailers, and there are some people that are like, "Oh my god, why are they like having a black elf? Why are they? Oh my god, they are overpowering Galadriel." And it's the House of the Dragon got the same, because in the books, obviously, the Valarians are white, and they're, but in the show, they're obviously introducing different characters and ethnicities because it's fucking fantasy.
But it's
so I think that kind of set Lord of the Rings up, particularly because there is a neckbeard incel following to all fantasy.
And you get it with,
and I think Star Wars too.
Star Wars as well, and this is one of the things, those people ruin it for everybody else because they try and gatekeep that particular fantasy world, I suppose you'd say, and they ruin it for the younger generations, because they think that they are entitled, or they're entitled to, they've got that sense of entitlement, right? That is theirs. They know more than anybody else, and nobody will know as much as them or enjoy it as much as them. And they're a fucking toxic piece of shit kind of people to have in those communities because it's not theirs. But anybody can go and fucking watch it, enjoy it.
And to try and though,
but to try and gatekeep.
They hadn't seen
it.
Yeah.
I mean, then you get the complaints because there was fucking, and these ones shit me. But you get the complaints because there's black actors playing who these people think should be white, but like fuck off. Like it's not written, and this was the thing, and I saw a few of those forums talking about the dark elf, or like the black elf in Rings of Power. Right. And these motherfuckers were going through Tolkien's book and saying, they were a fair skin and all this, and trying to fucking justify their bullshit racist views using, a book. Who gives a fuck? Like, it doesn't matter what color their skin is.
With their
that character is fucking fantastic. That guy that plays
might be the best. He might be the best fucking elf in that. Yeah.
Yeah, but the guy that plays that does I can't remember his name, but he's done a fucking great job. And anybody that's going to look at that and just discredit this whole series or this show just because of the color of the skin of one of the actors, go fuck yourself, man. Like, we're so sick of this shit. Enjoy it. Stop being such a fucking bigoted piece of shit. Get past the fucking color of people's skin, and you'll be so much happier. But, you know, yes, you do get that. You get the neckbeards that get on there and fucking gatekeep. You've got... I mean, let's not look at the negatives with it, because there's so many
I'm
good
going to
things.
finish it off, because I think where that comes from is because I think people have got needlessly echo chambered at them. So they might have been a Lord of the Rings fan, but for whatever reason, Lord of the Rings ended, and now freaks have been new to politics, true, because it's been around forever.
Yep.
So they're in their echo chamber, and they hear the new Lord of the Rings movies coming out. Their big talking point, particularly in conservative circles now, is that the woke agenda trying to take over Hollywood.
You're trying to wash out the whites. You're trying to wash
with
out
Ariel and all that. But the thing is, they don't understand, because it's been around forever. So one of the best movies ever made is Shawshank Redemption.
Yep.
And Morgan Freeman, his
plays
character's
Red.
name is Red.
And he was
in the
supposed to
books.
be a red-headed
Irishman.
yeah.
And they even made a joke. His name is Red. Okay, and even in the movie, Andy Dufresne asked him, "It's like, why do they call you Red?" And he's like, "Cause I'm Irish," or what, you know, as a joke. They even played a joke about it, but it didn't matter, because he went in there and he played the character so perfectly that now people, when they think of fucking Shawshank Redemption, they're like, "Fucking Morgan Freeman in Shawshank Redemption."
Yeah.
And you're like, "Oh, well, it's so woke." And then all these motherfuckers love Scarface. But Scarface is a remake of a movie about Italian Americans starting and in the fucking, what would you call it?
The Prohibition era.
Well, it was the Prohibition era, but it was organised crime.
Yeah.
Italians doing organised crime. But then when De Palma took it over, he was like, well, right now it's Cubans.
Yep.
So I'm going to make it a Cuban story. And they changed the race of the entire cast. But now everybody goes around and going, say hello to my little friend. And all, you know what I mean? And they don't give a shit. They don't give a shit that the whole thing was changed. And it doesn't matter. They love The Departed, a Scorsese movie, a great Scorsese movie. That's a remake of a fucking Korean movie.
Yep.
Or a Japanese movie, one or the other. So this has always been happened when people make remakes of movies or reimaginings of a story, like She's All That was it, what's that one with fucking, it's The Taming of the Shrew by Shakespeare, but you have Heath Ledger played him. And
yeah, I think it is She's All That, isn't it?
Yeah. Is it she? No, She's All That has Freddie Prinze Jr. 10 Things I Hate About You. 10 Things I Hate About You is The Taming of the Shrew.
Right.
But they changed it and they reimagined it, and think about when someone's covering a song. It's not supposed to sound exactly like the song. In fact, if it does sound too much like the original, people fucking
Get
kill you.
copyrighted.
You have to put your spin on it, make it a different genre, make it reggae, make it hip hop, make it fucking punk, make it metal, whatever. That's what people love about it. Wow, what a great new spin. But nowadays, these fucking cancel culture conservatives are ruining everything. And I think they did it when the trailers came out. That's how you know they're not genuine. And look at Rings of Power, and if you can tell me that the race of that elf affected that show at all, or the race of the Hobbit people, and I won't get too much into it, change the show, you're a fucking idiot. Or if you go into House of the Dragon and think just because there's Corlys Velaryon, the Valarians who are from Valeria, who are supposed to be quite exotic, are a different colour, then you're discarding the history of cinema and the history of artists putting their own spin on something. You fucking idiots.
Yeah.
You are the cancel culture.
But if you're looking at a TV show and complaining because of the color of a fictional character, you're a fuckhead, right? You're a fuckhead without conviction. If you've got to sit there and get angry because there is a colored person, or a different ethnicity to who you think you should be in that role, fucking uppercut yourself, because it's fiction. It's not fucking real. Like,
you're picking and choosing what to be outraged about. What about their ears, mate? That's not how people's ears are. You know?
Yeah. There's no,
Get over.
there's not a fucking race of small people getting around that are just gypsies, like all the time, that hide and fucking turn into shrubs. Like, just shut the fuck up and enjoy things.
And it doesn't mean you can't, like, I'm sure there are, and I think there are, both House of the Dragon and then Rings of Power. You can have some criticisms. You can have some legitimate criticism, and I don't like how the story went this way. I don't like that way. I would have preferred this. I would have preferred that. But why are we focusing on? I feel like we're getting stuck in the weeds. We could be having great conversations. So much shit if we didn't just have this barrier at the start that fucks everything.
But you think about for young kids, you know, and this got brought up with Ariel, where young black girls are not represented in so many movies over the years, have not been represented. To a young girl that watches The Little Mermaid as a kid and then sees that played by a black girl, that's fucking inspirational, right? And there's so many other opportunities for white girls to look at their favorite characters. Nearly every fucking movie, you know, up until
nearly every single one of them.
So that's life changing for those young girls and young boys in these, you know, to see a black elf kicking the fuck out of people and
this
plays
world's
so
for
well.
me too.
Like, I'm included in this. That these people that just shut that down, you know, they're just miserable fucks. And honestly, I just don't have time for them.
Elves, dudes. That's not your heritage. Sorry, we're not insulting your culture. It's elves, dude.
But
You know what I mean?
elves are from the south. The south will rise again.
That's not my elves.
Not my elf king. Anyway.
That's not my elf king. Oh man.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Look, we might we might start to wind down, because if we keep going, we're going to start dropping spoilers, and we really don't want to do that, right? Because
what I was going to say, we've missed out on so much, folks, and we're going to be on top of it. Kanye losing his shit. Ian died. We're going to be on top of it. Ukraine and Russia. We're going to be on top of it. Taiwan and China. Watch it. We also want to have some fun. We're going to have maybe a little bit of Halloween surprise. Maybe there will be a Halloween surprise there for you guys.
Cheeky little guess.
Cheeky little. But stick with us. Check it out. Yeah.
Thanks for coming on the new show and supporting us too. Support the whole channel, Fireside Productions. We've got Fireside Yarns on there with those old episodes, and we've got Dave And Vinno Show and anything else that comes out later down the track. Just jump on and support it. So, but
subscribe down there. That's free and it helps the shit out of us.
Absolutely. All right. Anyway, we're gonna bounce.
You did it.
We got it done. We were fucking nervous. We got it done. All right.
Oi, this has been a long time waiting. But cheers to you, Vinno.
Cheers to you, Dave.
Great fucking to be here again. And cheers to you.
Take it easy until next time.